Hello everyone. I welcome everyone here for our session on wellness and nutritional perspectives in the times of COVID-19. COVID-19 has caused havoc all around us. In response to confusion surrounding food and nutrition in such time, BrainAura is presenting a webinar titled Food and Nutrition During COVID-19. This will be presented by Dr. Jyoti Vora. She is the CEO of Dhirang Consultant and a nutritional food scientist with more than 33 years of experience in teaching and research. Along with this, she is an author, mentor for startups and nascent entrepreneurs. So now I'm handing it over to Dr. Jyoti.
Thank you so much, Sheel. Greetings of the day to all of you here. And at the outset, I would like to thank all of you for being here to participate in what I think is a very pertinent area of our life. We are going through a pandemic, which is broadly named as COVID-19. And it is horrifying because due to the era of information technology, we are overloaded with information. Information of the structure of the virus, the nature of the disease, the global spread of it, the kind of symptoms which are terrifying, how it is disturbing the entire global economy, and the kind of mortality, deaths, and data, and then data analysis. And all of that is really eerie, frightening, and scary. No one, however, is telling us how to cope with it. We all are involved in it with no choice of ours. So I thought this could be a preamble before I begin with what I feel are two areas that we must address in case we want to handle this COVID-19 to the best of our ability. And they are none other than wellness and nutritional perspectives. There is a complete connection between diet and disease. I'll take you to the bottom of it. If defined, diet is the total consumption of food that we do in a single day. Disease is a state of pathos which compromises our biochemistry. And diet optimizes the biochemistry. So that's how diet and disease are connected. We are indeed what we eat. And the concepts are very clear. To prevent disease, we need to have sensible, balanced, moderate dietary practices. To handle the disease, if it has happened and manifested itself, curative measures, diet again comes into the picture. And by the way, if the disease is incurable, we will have to definitely resort to diet for holistic handling of the disease, even in that context. I hope you are looking at the pictures as we go along. Because of paucity of time, I am not able to tell you all the foods which are good for you. So I've kind of put them on the pictures. Now, what are the basic health concerns in COVID-19? Everyone tells us immunity. That's 100% correct. This virus plays on immune compromised people. If we can manage to have our immunity intact, there is no reason why this disease cannot be handled like any other disease. So immune profile, immunity is a very big area. There has to be a protection of susceptible groups. Who are these? Children below 6 years, geriatric subjects, elderly people, those in the throes of chronic disease, example, hypertension, lung disease, diabetes, morbid obesity, and people who are in special categories, example, expectant mothers and so on. There are other sets of people who are perfectly normal, but they become susceptible groups. Who are those? The police, the medical staff, who are day in and day out facing the disease, so they have to also be protected. It is an upper respiratory tract syndrome. The virus attacks the lungs, the bronchia, the breathing mechanism, in short, and therefore that has to be addressed. And the worst part about it is communicable. This has to be understood very clearly. If it was not communicable, we would have handled the COVID patients who had got the disease and contained them within themselves. By now, the world would have been a very happier place. But unfortunately, it gets transmitted from one to the other. Interestingly, COVID is a set of viruses, coronaviruses, which are zoonotic. That means they transfer themselves from first animal to man, and once they have connected to man, they move from man to man. And therefore, communicable aspects of this disease has to be treated in a very serious manner. Isolation, confinement, quarantine, social distancing, wearing of masks, and all the practices related to prevention of connection with people who are sneezing, coughing, so on, have become the order of the day. So let's go in for some basic nutrition. I hope you like the pictures that I have put. These are of simple dishes that we can make during our confinement, and therefore they can be consumed. They are wholesome dishes and you can easily make them at home. What are the classes of nutrients? Nutrients are made up of three classes: macronutrients, which are needed in large quantities; micronutrients, which are needed in small quantities; and water, which is a standalone but very indispensable nutrient. The interesting thing about macronutrients is they contain proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids. And micronutrients are associated with vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. And of course, water stands alone. So these are the 7 classes of nutrients which have to be there in our diet every day. Every nutrient is a molecule and it behaves according to its chemistry in our body. So when we consume something, we have to process it in such a manner that it goes into our body and maximum according to its chemistry, it can address itself in our body. Bioavailability is what we are talking. We are Homo sapiens. Therefore, we are thinking species. And we emote with everything, including food. While I'm talking and we are on the slide, you've already checked out the dishes and you have said, yeah, they look good. Absolutely, yes. We connect to food through our senses. And therefore, in the concepts of nutrition, we have to address sensory evaluation or organoleptic testing to the largest degree. Unfortunately, in today's day of COVID, post-harvest technology takes a whole new meaning because the disease is communicable and the virus can survive up to many hours on any surface. What is the travel route that the food particle or food material has taken after it has harvested from farm to fork, from plot to plaza becomes very, very significant. Naturally then, food packaging, food laws, they are uppermost and they govern the concept of ensuring that good quality healthy food comes to the consumer in a better way. Transport becomes a very important aspect because, as I said, it has to travel from a very distant place. With the lockdown, this is a very significant aspect. Then it comes to the store, we don't know how long it's there, and then it comes to our shelf. Food colors, food additives, food stabilizers, and food emulsifiers, all of them also become very important because they are going to create a kind of environment in our cooking as well as eating which may be conducive to health or otherwise. Storage therefore becomes a very important part both in the store as well as in our home. The most important aspect is waste disposal. How the food is disposed, what is done to it, how long is the stale food in your home, what about the peels, what about pests, and so on. So this is all what is to be considered before we begin. Now we go in for Now we go in for some aspects where we will understand which is the way in which food plays a role. You have to talk of prevention. If you want to build up your immune profile, you need to consume excellent balanced diet with all the inclusions. I hope you can see in the pictures there are a lot of herbs, lot of grains, lot of legumes, lot of fruits, lot of vegetables, all of which are very much accessible, and they can prevent the disease by building up immunity. In case a subject has tested positive, then certainly some of these will help him to get over the debacle of the curve in a faster way. So curative roles are also specified. In the case of incurable diseases where complications have arisen, managerial rules are also given to food. So today no one addresses healthcare singularly. Everyone talks of holistic treatment in which diet, nutrition, dietary practices, lifestyle practices are all part of the treatment. Alleviation. What is the intensity of the disease? How can you reduce it? And that's exactly what we are talking about. And the most important term, overall wellness. I'm not talking of good health, I'm going beyond that. It's called wellness. Mental, physical, emotional, psychological, and because we are working from home, professional also, all these have to be addressed through good nutrition. So we have to include the following: proteins, very adequate amount have to be consumed. Carbohydrates, which are going to give energy, which have to be preformed, which are the baseline of all dietary components. Adequate amount of lipids, high up in unsaturated fatty acids, all kinds of micronutrients. At this moment, vitamins have to be addressed. Vitamin D, in case in the lockdown there is a sunny corner in the room or in your house, it's a good idea to sit in the sun for an hour, because vitamin D is wonderful for immune profile. Similarly, vitamin A, vitamin E, above all vitamin C, all the antioxidants, all kinds of minerals, and definitely the trace elements, and above all water. The gastrointestinal tract has to be hydrated, the gut has to be hydrated, but above all, the throat has to be hydrated. So it's a good idea to sip small amounts of lukewarm to warm water throughout the day, so that your diet contains water. It will flush out the toxins and digestion also will be better. We have to practice this. We are at home, we are bored, we are listless, we have no clue of what is going to happen, and all the while a part of us says that this is unreal. We are not supposed to be doing this, we are not supposed to be living this kind of life. So in this, the most important concept is to practice moderation, not to go overboard in any kind of thing as far as food and lifestyle are concerned. Small frequent meals are a good idea. If you can break up the 4 traditional meals into about 8 to 9 small meals, that would be much better, and that would be much more practical also. There's a lot of innovation we can do. Unfortunately, stocks are small. There is less accessibility of the ingredients that we want, and we have to make do with whatever we have. So why don't we get creative? Why don't we go in for innovation in cooking and culinary practices? I was just talking to some friends, and you'll be surprised to know that they were quite impressed when I said you can take the peel of the potato and cook the potato along with the peel. You just have to wash it very well. And the peel gives you a lot of manganese, it gives you a lot of magnesium, it gives you a lot of fiber, and a wonderful taste, a bulk to the dish that you're preparing. So a lot of innovation can be done. We have to tackle what is called binging. A number of times boredom brings about binging. especially for people who, for various reasons, are all by themselves. They are in the throes of the lockdown and they are alone. So they go in for this uncontrolled, habitual overeating. I hate to call it gluttony. And then they are guilty, they are disturbed, and they are totally unhappy. And this has to be avoided. Therefore, it's a good idea to go in for mindful eating. Look into the plate, serve yourself in a plate. Of course, we are doing our own vessels and housekeeping also. So, in case you feel that I'll eat from the same container in which I cook, that's not a very good idea. It will be nice if you dish out an amount in your own plate, sit down in a dignified manner, look into the plate, and consume the food very comfortably. Only then it is going to work out for fitness as well as good health. We have to avoid this spicy food. I hope you can see that I have put a green template. I am very clearly campaigning the grasshopper's lifestyle for you. You will be that much better off if you practice vegetarianism during this time than consume non-veg. Because with non-veg comes a temptation of adding spices, adding a lot of hot ingredients which are going to be disturbing. We are very consumed with the concept that we have to do everything ourselves. We call it the DIY period, do it yourself, and therefore we resort to processed foods. Again, this is a very bad idea, because we should not be consuming processed foods. They come in with a lot of additives and all, which are going to harm the bodily balance. We are flooded with food myths. Everyone who's anyone is an authority on nutrition, whether they are qualified or not, and they have an opinion. Please do not follow those opinions. For example, this is hardly the period where you should be going in for exclusion diets. A simple balanced diet to include everything is a much better idea than going in for something like a keto diet or something. Then there are those people in their working life, in our previous lifestyle, they were consuming meal replacement milkshakes and preparations. I would advise strongly that you substitute that with a simple home cooked meal. Please avoid fetishes and fads at this time. Agreed that nutrients are few, but try to avoid repetitive nutrients in both meals and try to make a variety of whatever you're having. Erratic intake is another thing we are very capable of. One day binging, the next day feeling guilty and going on a fast, both are bad. So therefore we have to avoid all this. So how do we do it? Let's look at the following slide. Simple meals, very, very simple meals, bringing out the natural flavorants and odorants of the meal itself. A plain dal with a plain rice, composite preparations. We call them Vedic recipes. Today, the world is recognizing our rich heritage and the Ayurvedic and Vedic practices that our ancestors have left for us. It's a good idea to revisit them. And for your interest, there are going to be for you a lot of very simple recipes available which can make up composite meals and composite preparations. Milk and dairy products are a must. As we are building up our immunity, do not forget that yogurt is a wonderful probiotic. And dahi, yogurt, buttermilk, these should be consumed as also milk in your diet. Fruits and vegetables of all kinds to be consumed as and when possible. And sattvic foods. What is the meaning of the word sattvic? It's a Sanskrit word which means extractive. The food in which all the nutrients of the food has come in. So bioavailability is all time high. This is achieved through simple cooking methods. And therefore, if we eat sattvic foods, we are going to be that much better off in our health. It's a good idea to work on what we call a rainbow of 7 P's. And that's what I have made up for you. Definitely, you have to plan your meals, you have to plan your lifestyle. There's no harm in sitting down and making a list of what you are going to eat per day, per week, along with the family members. It's a happy, enjoyable activity also. But there is a practical side to it. If you can plan, you will have a good idea of what to buy, because purchasing has today become a challenge because of the small limitation of availability of nutrients and foods. From this very platform, I would like to say there is no shortage of food. There is a dearth of certain ingredients, certain components which slowly come to us. So please do not get disturbed or imagine that there is a shortage of food. However, when you plan, you can purchase right. And once you have procured it, then you can process the food very well. Like I said, cutting is also processing, blending is also processing. So therefore, you can use the leafy parts, the peels, and they all are going to taste good, full of fiber, full of micronutrients, and they can be used. Portions are important in this time and day, because we emote with our food. If we like something, we may overeat, and we are in the comfort of our home and family, so we are not much worried about formality. So therefore, definitely there is a need to portionalize. Then we partake, simply consume whatever nicely it has been prepared, and we calm down and allow the sensation to pervade our soul. This then becomes a very good food memory. And when that happens, then wellness follows. Here are a number of bioactives which are present in our kitchens. What is a bioactive? You'll be happy to know that I've devoted a large part of my life to research on bioactives. Bio means life, and actives means those molecules which have typical properties which are going to optimize biochemistry of systems. Interestingly, these properties can work outside the system also. That means these are all plant products, but they work outside the plant. So if we consume them, they are also going to work in the same beneficial manner in our body as well. I'll read out the list, but before that, I'll tell you the consortium of beautiful properties that these bioactives have. They can be anti-carcinogenic, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral. They can be anti-helminthic. They are wonderful, and they are antioxidant as well. If you look at them very carefully, you'll say, yeah, all this we have in our home. Yes, absolutely you have it. It is in the magic dabba which we call masale ka dabba. So please use all these to the best which nature has given us. There's turmeric, there's ginger, there's cloves, there is cinnamon, there is garlic, there is cumin, there is lemon, there is pepper, there is cardamom, and there is saffron. At this stage, I should tell you that these are the ingredients commonly found in Indian traditional Vedic recipes, and they can be conveniently used. There is a whole concept of GHP. What is GHP? Good hygienic practices. But we end up doing good healthy practices, and we have to practice them in our kitchen. Washing of hands has become a kind of dictum today. Everyone is telling the other that in case you want to avoid this horrible disease, you have to periodically go on washing your hands. That's definitely what you have to do in your kitchen. Please keep a sanitizer and warm water so that before every cooking process, your hands are washed many times. The same, kind of stringent washing mechanism has to be done for implements and utensils which you are using. Uttermost hygiene and sanitation has to be practiced in the kitchen. Like we say, you have to work in the kitchen and prepare food as if you are preparing a Nevedyam, prasad for the temple. So automatically, you know, there is no hygiene which is compromised. After that, we come to three kinds of treatment. Treatments of vegetable, treatments of fruits, and treatments and storage of dry nutrients. I would like to deal with the treatment of vegetables and treatment of fruits first. All we have to do is take a big bowl of warm water and put some baking soda in it. And then we place the vegetables and the fruits in it for some time, individually and separately. We drain out the water periodically. We take the water, vegetables, wipe them and use them immediately. Foods have of treatment of and storage of the dry nutrients. Definitely the kitchen has to be very clean. There has to be a pest control mechanism in place. And other than that, whatever is coming from outside, we have to use, depending on what the material is, a dry or a wet tissue dipped in sanitizer, dry up the package and then store it carefully. There are three gadgets, you may call them, mechanisms, you may call them, or pillars, you may call them, of the kitchen, which we are presently using too many times: the refrigerator, the microwave, and the pressure cooker. So in the case of the refrigerator, one has to be extremely careful that we don't overload the refrigerator and we do not go on consuming stale food. It is not going to work in a better way for us. We have to have separate storage facility for fresh fruits, dairy, as well as cooked foods, and in case you're keeping meat, then that too. The microwave is a magical gadget, but it has to be used carefully. You cannot marry it to the refrigerator and say freeze, thaw, microwave, serve, again freeze. So we are not going to use a microwave to recycle repeatedly food which has been stored in the fridge or the refrigerator and which is stale. The good old pressure cooker very much comes handy and can be used for pressure cooking multiple grains, vegetables, and so on, and it's important. In any cooking mechanism or any activity in the kitchen, the cooking process is important. So safety becomes a very important aspect. One has to be very safe, and in case the cook is a novice saying that I would like to learn something during this lockdown, one has to be very careful about handling of hot material, fire, and hot oil, and so on. And what exactly are you going to do with the leftovers is a very big question you have to address to make sure that you do not overuse leftovers and cook exactly as much as you need. Now we address a few things as a consumer. We are the consumers at this moment. Top of our list is only food. We are not going out to the cinema, we are not going to restaurants, we are not partying, we are not using any conveyance, we are not even flying. So our entire money we are spending on food and provisions. So therefore we must demand very good quality, and if we demand, then we will get good quality. So in the case of our role as a consumer, the first thing we must understand is FIFO. FIFO stands for first in, first out. The moment you go shopping for food, please do not be in a hurry and read the packaging and read the components on the package, the literature on the package, so that you are very clear with batch number, best before, expiry date, and manufacturing date, so that you do not get stale food into your home. Once it is at home, whatever you bought first should be used first, and whatever you brought later can be used later. A lot of unethical people are indulging in misbranding at the time because people are desperate, milk especially. People are very desperate in getting milk, oil, grains. So they are misbranding. Please make sure that you buy A-class food and not get into the misbranding trap. Quality control is in your hand. Quality is an all or none phenomena. So if you indulge in good quality control, you are going to have a healthy family and you also are going to be healthy. Please don't indulge in overstocking. This is one of the biggest mistakes that happens. You buy things which you're never going to use, and finally they decay, they spoil, they rot, and then you throw them. Is that fair to someone who could have got that? Today we have to have a social conscience right on top. So please do not overstock. And as I said, do not cook extra, waste not, want not. Be fair to the people who are literally running around to get a decent meal. These are some immuno boosters on our palate. Very simple ones. I thought you might like them. Soups of all kinds. By the way, soup is a seriously Indian recipe as well. Right from plain dal, which we can make into a kind of shorba with some amount of flavorants. All soups are wonderful for the palate. They are warm, they are comfort foods, and they give you a feel good factor. The next magical thing is none other than tea, good old chai. And this has a wonderful compound, an alkaloid, which is called theophylline. The way coffee has caffeine. Aside from that, tea has a very, very large amount of alkaloids. And all these are bioactives which are going to help your immunity. So if you're a tea drinker, it's a good idea to drink small amounts of hot tea throughout the day. At night, hot turmeric milk is recommended for one and all. This magical drink is not only going to boost your immunity, it is going to make you sleep better because it is going to release the compound known as serotonin. And this serotonin is going to make you feel that much more fresh in the morning. It's going to go along with your circadian rhythm. Plus, turmeric has the compound bioactive called curcumin. And this curcumin is a molecule with wondrous properties, from anti-cancer to anti-carcinogenic to immunoboosting to antiseptic properties. Whatever you name, everything is there in curcumin. So hot turmeric milk should be had. You can add a bit of saffron, so it will give a good taste, and one more bioactive will be introduced in that dish and you can consume it. Sprouts can be made at home. Sprouts are extremely good, they are healthy, they can be consumed in so many ways, right from raw to parboiled to boiled to ground, whatever you want. Nowadays, the days are rather hot. So you can conveniently sprout things at home, and any and every lentil can be sprouted. So all kinds of dishes can be made from sprouts, and habitually sprouts should be consumed. Then curd and yogurt. As I said, it's a probiotic. It has to be consumed in one way or the other, right from plain curd to raita to something like kadhi. And then there are so many ways of making kadhi. Added to that could be pakoras, that could be a meal, and that's really important. Probiotics are very good immune boosters. And dates are wonderful immune boosters and should be consumed because they are packed with all kinds of micronutrients as well. Now we come to the rainbow. What happens after lockdown? We're waiting for that day. Yes, agreed. But what happens after it? Are we going to go back to our, old lifestyle? Are we going to go in for fast foods and erratic meals and habitual binging and all those kind of habits? Or are we going to be sensible, introspect, and look at this lifestyle which has come on top of us but which we have mastered and which has generated very good health and wellness, all of it, right from mental, physical, emotional, psychological, and professional. So it's a good idea to think of continuing this lifestyle even after the lockdown. Because one very important point I want to warn you, it is not that one night we are at home and next day the particle will disappear and we'll just go out and everything will be clean and nice. There are going to be very many susceptibility issues. You'll be shocked to see that a number of people fall into that illness after the lockdown. So there are very many great precautions which have to be taken after the lockdown as well, and they have to be supported by good nutrition, good dietary practices, and good lifestyle practices. Finally, what do we want? A grand finale of what? Good health, but in a sustainable manner, where it is so lifestyle integrated that we just manage to do everything as if it is a natural course of situations. We can go in for breathing exercise, for yogic exercises, for fitness norms, even at home, coupled with very good food and a sensible approach to eating. And I'm sure good health is going to be ours, not only today, but for a very, very long time. And therefore, before I say thank you, I would like to talk of two Sanskrit sentences and shloks. These are part of a shlok. Anna he Purna Brahma. It basically means at the fulcrum of all genesis is food. We are what we eat, and therefore, if you address nutrition, if you address food in the correct manner, you are going to optimize your biochemistry and you're going to be on top of your wellness and health profile. The next is Udara Bharana Nohe Zanije Yadna Karma. It means that consuming food or eating is not merely a filling of the stomach, but it is a kind of complicated Vedic yagya or experiment that we are doing with our gut, with our physiology, with our biochemistry. Therefore, it has to be addressed in a proper way. I'd like to sign off by first wishing you sustainable good health, the kind of morale to handle this debacle that has come on to us, and that you should keep smiling always. So thank you so much. Signing off, Dr. Jyoti Vora.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. This has been a very enlightening session for all of us here. And we have few questions that few of the audiences has asked. One of them is, why vegetables are not included in bioactive material? So we were hoping if you can answer this.
Yes, actually, it's a good question. Vegetables are included in bioactives. Everything we eat is a bioactive. But when I put down bioactives, these are the very intensely containing, bioactives. It's like saying they are power-packed components. Therefore, I added spices, I added condiments. But vegetables themselves have a lot of micronutrients which are bioactives also.
Okay. And there's another question which says, what about solanine in potato peels?
Yes, what about it? It's good for your health. A lot of recipes anyway use the peel of the potato. So it's a wonderful thing to consume. There's no problem. Only the potato has to be very nicely cleaned. And if it is not marred in any way, if it is not spoiled in any way, that's what you have to look at. And if it is a blemish free or a very clean skin, then it is worth consuming with the skin, please.
And another question is, how to clean the vegetables?
I've already said that, but I'd like to repeat it. You can take a big bowl of warm water. In that you put a little bit of salt, and in that you put baking soda. Once you have finished putting the baking soda, you allow it to dissolve, and then you immerse the vegetables in it turn by turn. Frequently change the water. Then you dry the vegetables and you use them. That is the manner in which you clean the vegetables.
Okay. And right now, the last question we have, do I need to take extra precautions while cooking egg, chicken, and fish?
According to me, the same concepts go along. Only one small requirement. If you are cooking the non-vegetarian components, there is a little, temptation to use loud spices. So try to make recipes where the spice level is less, so that it is easy on the stomach. And if you are consuming meat dishes, please avoid red meat.
Okay. And there's one more question that has just come up. Can
Please.
we clean vegetables with potassium permanganate solution?
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. But I said baking soda because there is more chance of baking soda being in everyone's home. Potassium permanganate is a well-known, cleanser, and if it is there in your home and it is of a good food grade, and you must please see that the packet has not expired, then please use it, and that's wonderful. That's the best thing. You can use it.
Okay. And there's another question that has come up. How to clean how to cook nutritional food with minimum ingredients in this lockdown period, as the availability of vegetables and fruits are very less.
There are a series of recipes. I gave some examples. I can name for you some things which I commonly make in my own home, and you may note it down, and we can have, with the permission of Kumar sir and Sheel, a whole concept of recipe session also. I'll be happy to do it. But I'll just tell you, one is khichdi. You can play around with khichdi, rice or dalia, and different kinds of grains which you have, dals, and any vegetables that you put in. You can put in the spices of your choice, and that is a ready-made one pot meal. The second is wonderfully what we call thali peet, multi-grain, little rotis you can make along with green vegetables and so on. So composite meals is what you have to make.
Okay. And another question is there. Are the packaged curd equally good as the one set at home?
No, according to me, if you have a good culture at home, please continue using that. Packaged curd, I don't want to comment on it at this moment, but I am a bit worried about the, downtime, where it has come from, how long it has taken. So please try to set the curd at home. It will be much, much better because you have a hand in all the levels of processing. So you will be better off with the homemade curd.
Okay. So, sorry guys, I can take only one more question, and rest of the questions we'll answer it separately. So, ma'am, just last question.
Please.
Is there any food which affects on anxiety coming because of lockdown?
The best thing for anxiety is, number one, for your mind to do simple yogic exercises, deep breathing, etc. And concerning foods, there is no other sattvic food like hot turmeric milk. So if you feel anxious, you must have hot turmeric milk with saffron, with a bit of sugar, with a bit of jaggery, and you will feel that much more comfortable.
Okay. So, so guys, thank you so much for being part of this session. And we are very happy to be here and listen to Dr. Jyoti's words, which has been very informative for all of us, especially right now when we have to be very conscious about our health. And Dr. Jyoti, thank you so much for being part of this session, being the speaker.
My pleasure entirely, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I was looking at the number of participants, and of course, with the encouragement of Kumar sir and Aparijita, and definitely all your help, Sheel. Thank you so much. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. And just one thing, guys, we have a YouTube channel, the BrainAura, and we will be uploading this video up in just a few days. So kindly subscribe to our channel, and we'll be updating all the videos there. So please be part of BrainAura team, and we will be bringing a lot of interesting webinars. Thank you.